Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to my podcast. I'm your favorite Gambian, Ibrahima. And yes, today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko for a potential UFC bout between the two ladies. And, it's something that, I've been waiting for a long time. I mean, I've sat down. The last time the two women fought was back in UFC 215. If I'm not mistaken, let me double check. But it was UFC 215. That's my guess, but let me just double check. And obviously Amanda Nunes won by either split decision or unanimous decision. But in my opinion, I thought Valentina Shevchenko actually won the fight by a margin. Actually, yeah, it was actually UFC 215 at Rogers Place. A sensational event actually, and it was the same card. Henry Cejudo, the messenger. Henry Cejudo fought Wilson Reyes. Oh God, it was a dominant performance from Henry Cejudo. Absolutely sensational, bro. I mean, talk about the striking, talk about the grappling mixed together, and landed a beautiful 1-2 to drop Wilson Reyes, and came down with devastating elbows and cut the finish. And I actually remember Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson was actually in the crowd with his missus, his wife, and his wife's dad as well, who was wearing a cowboy hat and all of that. Like, well, I'm wearing my cowboy hat and all of that. And, it was a sensational performance. But, obviously, the fight that we're talking about is actually the Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko fight. It was a 5-round decision victory by Amanda Nunes. And the first fight, this fight took place in 2017, I remember vividly, actually. But before that, they actually fought at UFC 196 as well, and absolutely sensational, though it was a good fight. Amanda Nunes took the first 2 rounds. She was dominant with the striking, and I think she was actually managed to take her down, if I'm not mistaken. But Shevchenko took her down as well as a result of Amanda Nunes' pressure, and she was dominant on the ground as well, even nearly got a submission. I think it was a guillotine or a Darce choke as well. So these women are very dominant in their respective divisions, and the best thing that could ever happen to us as UFC fans is actually seeing Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko going together for the 3rd time, because I believe genuinely that Amanda Nunes won the first fight. But on the other hand, or conversely, I actually believe that Valentina Bullet Shevchenko won the second fight. It wasn't really close, to be honest. I mean, you can hear Valentina Shevchenko complaining about the fact that she believed that she won the fight. Nunes probably only landed one real punch that we could look at and just go, that was a significant strike, to be honest. So this fight should happen. And if you look at their collective divisions, respectfully, I think Amanda Nunes and Shevchenko have been so dominant. I'm talking about so dominant, yeah. It becomes it becomes unfathomable to us as UFC fans. I mean, Valentina Shevchenko's just been beating the hell out of everyone. Her last victory, totally dominant as well, against Jessica Andrade, the Brazilian international, and Amanda Nunes' last victory was against Megan Anderson. But before that, these people getting, essentially beating the hell out of everyone. There was a fight that I looked at and I thought Amanda Nunes was actually going to lose. This was back in UFC 232 at UFC 232 against Chris Cyborg. Amanda Nunes was so dominant. The fight started, they went at it. Amanda Nunes knocked out Chris Cyborg cold. No one expected that. No one saw that coming, but she did it. So the fight we're looking forward to, or the fight that we think is probably the fight that should materialize, or should be the fight that needs to happen, is by far Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Bullet Shevchenko. If this fight doesn't happen, I don't really know what to say, to be honest, but I'm not going to be pleased about it, to be honest. Absolutely sensational. 2 fighters, both great strikers. I'm talking about both high level grappling. So it's about who established that they're the better grappler, and who also establishes that they're because Amanda Nunes, as we've seen, that not many fighters are willing to take a risk in terms of striking against Shevchenko, because he's a very calculated counter striker, and we all know that. And we saw how she beat the hell out of Jessica Andrade. She just couldn't find any space to get in. Although Amanda Nunes has heavy hands, and what is she going to do? Is she going to rush in and try to throw bombs against someone like Shevchenko, who, as I've mentioned, is a really good counter striker, very technical as well, with beautiful Muay Thai skills as well. And yes, she's very good at combining everything together. Or someone like Amanda Nunes, who's a devastating striker. She hits hard, but she's also very technical, and she's got a really good wrestling as well. Can she take down Shevchenko and establish dominance from the get-go? I don't know, but it's the fight that I want to see. Ladies and gentlemen, as UFC fans, is there any person who disagrees with what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Who disagrees with, the fight? You know what I mean? Does anyone think that the fight makes sense or not? Essentially, that's my question. I think it makes total sense. I think that it's the fight that you know, who knows? Amanda Nunes could be a 3 division champion. No one's ever done that in the history of mixed martial arts, holding 3 belts simultaneously. Like, obviously, I mean, she's like the women's bantamweight champion of the world after obviously choking out Misha Tate, and she's defended the belt against the likes of Ronda Rousey, Holly Holmes, not Megan Anderson, but a lot of people, and then obviously defeated Chris Cyborg for the undisputed flyweight title, not undisputed featherweight title back in 2018. And since then, she's just been totally dominant, you know what I mean? Whereas Valentina Shevchenko, an absolute sensational fighter, ladies and gentlemen, this is the bout that I want to see. Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko, Dana White, where are you, mate? Make the fight happen. Make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know, that's the current state of the UFC. Obviously, it's becoming post-COVID-19, right? And things seem excited, but I'm concerned that there might be a problem of lockdown in this country. You know, the government might bring in another lockdown, you know, around November, and things would just go back to being very depressive, to be honest. But obviously, let's pray, you know, and hope that that never takes place. But honestly, mate, things seem perfect. And if you're a fan of boxing as well, events are opening up, and there's like used a lot bare, but there's a lot of audience. Well, there's fans in stadiums. Finally, I'm talking about fans in stadiums. I'm talking about in their thousands, by the way. And if you watch football as well, you see obviously the crowd as well is incredible. So it seems like we're almost in post-lockdown, if that makes sense. Post-lockdown, where, you know, yes, the COVID-19 is still an existential problem. However, you know, it ain't a big deal, you know what I mean? Fuck it, fuck COVID, you know what I mean? Although, you know, there's obviously people are being affected and people are dying and all of that, but I think we've already established and we already know what this disease is. Anyways, putting COVID aside, like,